The SL3-S is more than now just having 6K open gates, better ISO performance, better dynamic range, better video codecs, faster frames per second, up to 30 frames per second, and continuous autofocus, the ability to record externally to a USB-C drive. It is more than just that. What makes the SL3-S Leica's most capable camera to date for hybrid shooters, videographers, and photographers is this. Confidence-inspiring autofocus. We now have it in the SL3-S. Let's talk about it. All right, before we kick things off, big thanks to Leica Singapore for loaning me the camera for a period of time for this review. With that said, these are my thoughts and my thoughts only. And the moment I picked up the SL3-S and I heard the autofocusing was improved, right? There were some of the notes that I got. And I thought, okay, let's see. I was so happy to see the performance. I have an SL3. I had an SL2S reporter previously, and I've used the SL2 and the SL. And they're all good cameras. We were hoping for solid performance when it comes to autofocus with the SL3. It still performs like a contrast-based SL2 system in some regards. A little bit better, but it feels very much like a contrast-based system. The SL3-S is now in the same conversation as Sony, Canon, Nikon, and Panasonic. We're now in that same ballpark, and it is awesome to use. Is it perfect? No autofocusing system is. But the fact that it has solid eye detection, face detection, it doesn't flutter around in video and in photo is fantastic. Animal detection, much better. It does not have all the other subject detections that you get in other camera systems, cars, planes, trains, all that stuff. Not yet. Hoping it will. There's still an animal beta. But animal and people work great. I have shot YouTube videos, car videos. I have taken a lot of photos on set. I was shooting a movie for the past month in Malaysia. And I can't tell you, if you're an SL user, you know what I'm talking about, right? There's times where the camera performs great and you're just so happy with the image quality because paired with Leica lenses and the optics and just the great colors that Leica has and the sensor and all that stuff. I produced some amazing images with my SL3 last year. So happy with it. But there were times in the 70 to 200 video when I talked about the autofocusing performance with that lens that it really struggled when it comes to faster action. Now with the SL3-S, it's changed, man. I'm hoping though that Leica does update the SL3 with the same autofocus algorithm as the SL3-S. Leica, please do this because we love 60 megapixels. 24, okay, I get it. It's a good hybrid sensor for video and photography. I get it, but I like 60. And if I could get that kind of autofocusing system in a 60 megapixel camera, chef's kiss. Hopefully that'll happen. All right, let's talk about body design real quick just to get this out of the way. It is the same as the SL3. It is smaller than the SL2S reporter, SL2S, SL2 respectively. It's more compact. It's more magnesium alloy based and aluminum based as the SL2 was. But I really like the SL3 body in my personal opinion. It's smaller, easier to carry around. The tilt-up display is confidence inspiring. It's really robust. EBF is still the same, 5.76 million EBF. The UI is still the same. The buttons are still the same. It is the same body. Still the same cards, CF Express Type B and UHS 2, especially if you want to go, faster frame rates or higher codecs. Having CF Express Type B definitely does help a lot. And that gives you an edge over something like the S5 II, S5 IIX, respectively from Lumix. Now, for this review, I predominantly paired it with the 35 Oppo. That's kind of like cheating because for those who own that lens or have used that lens before, it is so good. It is such a good lens. The sharpness, the fall off, the pop, you're using a 24 megapixel backside illuminated sensor in this camera system, but it looks more like a 30 plus megapixel image because of just how well it resolves. It's one of my favorite lenses that Leica makes thus far. I wish I could afford one, but maybe one day we'll see. But yes, I love that lens. I use that for video and for photo. And just to give a heads up in terms of video, I was worried that being that this lens was predominantly designed for obviously SL2 in that era, or SL, where, maybe the autofocusing system wasn't the same as the SL3-S. How would it perform? Performs fantastic. It is lightning quick, No issues at all, no fluttering. It is confidence inspiring. It is awesome. Let's talk a little bit more about video first. We'll get into photography afterwards because I think this is obviously a hybrid camera system. So for video, I did shoot some YouTube videos with this, and the fact that I actually could put onto a tripod, sit in front of a camera, move around if I needed to, and not worry about it going off somewhere else or fluttering in the background was amazing. This camera sticks on you like glue. I loved it. I was so happy. I was like, yes, finally, I like a camera that I can record videos for YouTube. There are one caveat to that. We'll talk about that in just a second. But in terms of the autofocusing, oh, it is right on there, okay? Subject detection, don't even think about it. Just get in front of the camera, start talking, start moving around. You're in. In terms of the IBIS with video, it's good. I would say, is it as good as the Lumix S5-2X with their electronic stabilization? No, it does not have that in this camera system. It's just IBIS on or off, but it does work relatively well. So I'm no complaints in that regard. In terms of the image quality for video, it is good when you shoot in log. I will put an asterisk to this because obviously I'm using a pre-production camera. When I shot in the natural or classic color profiles, which are just in camera colors, I found, as of right now, or during my testing, that the image was very contrasty indoor under control lighting. Outdoors, it's a bit better. But indoors, like in my studio here, I'm in control lighting on about 4,700 Kelvin. And I found that the color temperature was quite off in the sense that my skin tones were off, reds and blues were a little bit off, no matter how I was playing around with the camera system. The contrast was very high. I even can dial some of that down inside the camera, but it really wasn't helping. So I want to chalk that up to this being a pre-production camera, in the firmware not being final for this. But when you shoot in log, that all goes away. Very good dynamic range. The log profile or the log video file is very reminiscent of what you're getting out of Panasonic. Obviously, they share technology, so maybe they're sharing technology here. So you can color grade with a Panasonic camera and onto the Leica, vice versa, and you're going to get the same color, so it matches very well. So if you are a videographer, let's say you have a Lumix S5-2X, and you want to have a Leica camera for photography, but you also want to use it for video, and you want to pair the two cameras up, you're going to be very happy with how these two pair. They perform almost exactly the same when it comes to video in terms of the image quality, ISO performance, all that stuff. So that was something that I was very happy about. I have an S5-2X as well that I use, and I was very happy to integrate both of those cameras. As a matter of fact, this car commercial for the Singapore Motor Show recently for a company called J.Crew, and I actually used the SL3-S and the S5-2X together, along with the Pocket 3, for some of the driving shots. And all of them together worked well. My colorist and editor did a phenomenal job with it, and the files just work seamlessly. And yeah, very, very happy with it. And again, with really good autofocusing, handheld shooting, there were no issues at all with the SL3-S. For videographers out there who've been wanting a Leica camera to take photos and video, you're going to be very, very happy with what you're getting out of this system. And also you can record externally as well. And you can also use now the small rig cage and get your various different setups on top of that. So you can actually maximize the cage more. They came out with this cage with the SL3, and obviously not really a video camera per se, but now with the SL3-S, and it fits on beautifully. This is going to be a really nice setup for you guys to use out there, especially if you want to rig out your camera system. All right, let's talk photos, because obviously more people here in the Leica community shoot photos and videos, but I think with the SL3-S, you're going to want to venture into doing both. This is a really good photographer's camera, guys. It's 24 megapixel. Sure, I wish it was more. I understand. This sensor is awesome. I don't know if it's the same sensor as the SL2S. I have no idea. I believe it is a different sensor, but the readout's faster on it. You get 30 frames per second in continuous autofocusing now. Now, you will drop from 14-bit to 12-bit after a certain number of frames per second, so keep that in mind. But again, if you're shooting fast action and lifestyle, that drop in color bit is not going to be much of a difference. I really didn't notice much when I was editing images either way, so neither here nor there. It's great that we have continuous autofocus up to 30 frames per second faster readout, which is awesome. It's not going to be a sports camera, but it definitely can capture faster moving subjects better than the previous Leica SL cameras. That's a good thing. ISO performance, really, really good. Really good. If you like the SL2S, the SL3-S, in my personal opinion, is even better. Dynamic range. This camera has got very good dynamic range. So I'll show you a sample here in Lightroom, right? Backlit, dark subject, pull it all up. All the detail is there. Yeah, there's a little bit of noise. Clean that up. You are golden. This is a very good camera for those situations where you're going to need to be in higher dynamic range situations where you need the push and pull your highlights and shadows. You're going to have a lot of flexibility. I felt the white balance in photography was a lot more reliable. You know, sometimes in the previous camera systems, the white balance could go off in and out here and there. I found it to be more reliable, faster, more responsive. So in, tricky lighting situations or color temperature situations, the SL3-S performs very, very well. That's kind of it, man. That's kind of it. This is Leica's most capable hybrid camera system for a photographer or videographer out there. And sure, there will be comparisons out there to other systems. Leica is Leica. They kind of beat to their own drum, and we applaud them for it, They focus on image quality with great optics. They pride themselves in good color science, phenomenal build quality. Yes, they are priced at a premium. And if you want to compare it to other camera systems out there, then you're not quite understanding what Leica's about. It's like buying a Rolex and buying a two-door. Both are great watches, both are different price points and will cater to different markets. Not to say one is better than the other, but they're different. But I would say for the Lumix fans out there that have an S5 II, S5 IIX, and you want to pair this with that camera system, you're going to be very happy. Now, the SL3-S does not have anamorphic support out there. So for those who are anamorphic fans, not implemented yet, will they do it? Who knows? Pairs well with the new Leica Photos app with the upgraded color filters or simulations as well. It's all inside there now. But for the month I had this camera, I had a smile on my face using it. I just loved using this camera system because it just gave you so much confidence using it. I've loved the SL system, but the autofocus to me was always a big deal for me. And Leica has now done it with the SL3-S. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on the camera system. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Any questions you have, I'll try to answer them for you. Like always, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, notification bell, all that great stuff. Thank you for the support, and I'll chat to you all very, very soon. Take care.